Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today I've got the largest of the LEGO Overwatch sets in front of me. Thanks a lot to the LEGO group for sending this set over to us to do a review. It is Watchpoint Gibraltar, set number 75975. It has 730 pieces, and there are 3 figs, 1 big fig, 1 rocket ship, and of course the launching pad. I have a feeling you guys are going to want to know about the figs first, so let's get into these guys. I don't know who the most popular of the minifigs is in this set. I don't really play Overwatch, so we're going to start off with Farah because I just like this fig the most. We've got some really fun armor. If you can't tell, that is actually Nexo Knight armor that they reuse, which I personally like when LEGO does stuff like that. They don't need exclusive molds for absolutely everything that they do, but they have done some really fun things. These bar connectors, I believe, are the first time we get them in blue. Personally, I just like these connection points. I think it makes a really nice angle. These tooth pieces come in blue, which perhaps is the first time. It certainly is not common for those parts to come in blue from what I understand. And yeah, we've got a really interesting mold for the helmet, as you can see, kind of going around, but I want to show you guys what Farah looks like without the armor. You can see that she's got a lot of excellent print detailing all over the legs and torso. They match up really well. Some of the characters ended up not having leg printing, which I thought just didn't really work, but this is probably one of the best, I think, matchups between that. Great printing on the back. She's got an excellent alternate expression, and I really love the mark underneath the eye. I don't exactly know what it symbolizes, but this could definitely make for, the face is just great, just with the skin tone and the interesting markings. This could make for a really interesting headpiece to use to make awesome characters later. This is the armor piece on the one side, and the helmet that very much looks like a bird or a falcon or something like that. You can tell me in the comments. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, this is also her weapon. This is a stud gun, and yeah, it comes with 1 or 2 extra shots like that. Now next up is Mercy. This is the angel or angel type character. She's got some pretty modern, interesting prints for armor, so she's, I don't know what her character actually is, but she does have something that looks very similar to a halo that goes all around. It's a wonderful hairpiece, by the way, that goes all the way around. It's this sort of high ponytail with these kind of anime-like hair strands. They're very big. You know, the 3 big patches of sort of hair strands that come around. She's got herself, what is her, it's just her staff. It's kind of like a angel staff. It's interesting though. I like the 3 hooks that come there in the front. It's actually a fun little construction, completely brick built. Of course, not a totally modified mold. And now you can see Mercy without any of her attachments. Pretty good print for the face. You can see the flesh tone on the black minifigure head. I feel like LEGO doesn't like to do that very often. They used to do it with the Stormtroopers, which I actually thought looked pretty good. But I think it's just more difficult for them to get the prints to actually look nice. Really great detailing for armor all along the back. There's some nice shade detailing. If I can get as close as I can, some really nice shade detailing in there along the shoulders especially. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way these characters look. I think LEGO spent extra special time for each of these characters. For the most part, there are a couple that sort of lack, but not really. And if you were keeping track, she comes with the neck bracket here with the wings. This is her hairpiece, and that is her staff. Last up here is Reaper. He's not exclusive to this set. The last 2 characters are, so far at least. If there's more waves, we'll find out. But this is Reaper. He has appeared in one other set, except he in the other set did not appear with this sort of ghost form of his. Wow, that's like really hard to take off. You know what, I'll take that off in just a second. But yeah, the ghost form of his is not normally there. I've got to actually balance him down with the 2 Hellfire shotguns that he carries around with him because he's going to fall forward. But I think he's a really good looking character from all around, just in his complete form. Now let's take him apart. And now here he is in his sort of broken apart form there. Pretty good detailing all around on the front and the back. I do like the sort of spine enforcement sort of armor. I think that's sort of how motorcycle jackets kind of work. But of course, this is all hyper, technology that's super, super advanced. This is a mold that comes from Ninjago originally. And I have a feeling we have gotten trans black and I think just trans clear. Or maybe this is just black and trans clear molded together once before from the Monsters collectible minifigure series. Don't quote me on that. This is a wonderful exclusive little mold, or this mold for the cape is just for Reaper, both in this character and the one from the other set. These are his Hellfire shotguns, and he's got his hood. Now last up is Winston. This is him with his Tesla cannon, the big fig. So there's a few larger characters that have come from these waves that don't really scale with minifigs. I feel like Winston is probably the best use of a big fig, at least for this wave. He fits pretty nicely in with the size of the rest of the figs, and wonderful mold. This is a new mold for the arms for big figs. We might see more of this from other characters later in the year. That's the same, it can be said for the rest of his body. Often big figs, especially from the superhero line, are just usually recolored, and there are some exclusive molds here and there, but this guy through and through, just everything for him is new, minus maybe Gorilla Grodd feet, the hands feet. I'm not totally sure about that. Of course, the hands aren't in exclusive mold, but everything else is wonderful detailing. Love the glasses printed out there. His Tesla cannon has some stickers there to make it just kind of look more like the weapon. I know a lot of people really like the weapons that these guys come from, or that these guys use in the game, I should say. And okay, it's now time to talk about the main body, the main build of the set itself. Personally, I like the way a lot of this looks, just generally as a play area. The launch pad is really, really strong. The ship can stand up actually quite well on its back thrusters, and the overall build design for these pipes and everything look great. I know for a fact, because we love to custom build here and make our own creations, that we're going to be using a lot of these red macaroni and noodle pieces later at some point, but ultimately this is actually a wonderful looking launch station. We might even keep a primary bit of this build intact, but I have a feeling a lot of you guys are going to want to see what this shuttle looks like. So here it is. This is the Overwatch ship, and it can launch apart, the Overwatch shuttle. It can come apart, I should say, in two pieces. And in the process of doing that, I knocked out a couple of missiles. Hold on. Righto, they were originally attached on either side of the second cockpit, so I pulled them off in a slightly diagonal way and they popped out. So anyways, it can come apart in two pieces like this. Personally, I think the front looks a little better. This actually feels still kind of like a spaceship. Of course, this cut off a little bit at the end there. It's got its own little thruster, a secondary thruster, so it still looks like it can shoot itself around the sky or in space. And there is one seat here open enough for a fig, though there's no internal control panels. Personally, I've never been a big fan of doing highly detailed cockpits, or at least in Lego sets, because Lego sets are usually pretty minimal when it comes to cockpit pieces on their own. Generally speaking, I don't care if there's like a little printed piece that shows a control console so much. And this one's actually got, I think, the original rocket launchers, or at least these look like the primary ones, so they can fold out. I love that that's actually on a ball joint, but this back build is still wedged between the tiles, so even though it's on a flexible ball joint and another flexible ball joint on the inside there, it can't actually go side to side. So it works in the same sense as a clip, but I think just the spacing is a little bit it's more ideal for this particular build. So I like that they sort of managed to keep the ball joints just going front and back and not swiveling in side-to-side motion. So that's really nice. And ultimately, I think the front half of the shuttle is good. Of course, I picked it up by the cockpit. The back half of the shuttle, in a certain way, feels like a more complete ship, just because the back part looks more complete. This is the back part of the rocket, so there's a ton of different thrusters. There's the three primary ones. It looks like there's two secondary ones. And then the wings also, they're thinner and they feel a little bit more fleshed out. It's a bit bulky in the front, obviously. The nose looks sort of silly, and these almost look like spare shots that would be left over for the other rocket launcher, but I guess you could just sort of pretend to shoot them out this way. There's no flick missiles or anything like that. These actually don't have any. None of the build here has any sort of primary sort of basic play function, which I think works. Generally speaking, I never think that those are that fun to play around with, but then again, I'm not a super young fan of Lego. And hold on, let me get the light better in here. There we go, managed to get the light much better here. Also, you can get more light on the inside when you fold the sides open. So yeah, the sides on either side can open up. I really like this piece. They're clipped on either end. You get 4 in black and then 2 in white. Makes a great rounded over shape. And then the top has a ratcheted opening point here. On the inside, there's a banana, jar of peanuts, a couple other fire extinguishers possibly. And what's interesting is you have these plates in here that are kind of L-shaped or Z-shaped or S-shaped or whatever you want to say. And it makes it impossible for Winston, the big fig, to actually stud in, which I kind of think is too bad. Obviously, you can't close this thing around him. He can't fit inside the shuttle all the way, unless there's a certain technique on how to fit Winston inside if you lay him down or something. I don't think so. So Winston can stand inside the Overwatch shuttle, but he can't actually like stay in there. So anyways, I think this function works pretty darn well. Let me turn the light back down again for you. And ultimately, the Overwatch spaceship itself just looks cool completed. Can I zoom this out for you? Yeah, it just looks pretty darn good completed. One of the better looking and smoother looking Lego spaceships in general, I would say. At least from what I've seen. I feel like Benny's spaceship from the Lego movie the first time, that was probably one of the best Lego spaceships of all time in my opinion. But I like this for its simplicity. It's not trying to be anything more than how it's portrayed in the game, but it's got a really good shape, and I think Lego knocked it out pretty darn well. So now moving on to the launch pad, you can actually see 2 of those thrusters, by the way, from the ship, these back 2. They actually fit just right into those circular pieces. Great shape there. And this is probably one of the best prints that comes from the entire set. You can just pop it out, in fact, and see it a little bit better. And yeah, I don't know what, this is, I think, where you're supposed to drop the payload. I don't play the game, so sorry guys, I'm not like some expert, but this is a really nice printed piece, and I can't wait to see other people finding other meanings and other uses for a piece like that, just because of the big size and shape and detail of all the different markings. So this is a slightly closer look at sort of, it's a combination of scaffolding pieces that are on any sides around here, but then you've also got these red macaroni pieces that there's some on the side, and you kind of have these gas tanks or whatever kinds of fuel tanks are around here. Really nice look all around for the bright red. I think it contrasts super well with the rest of the things in the set. And yeah, you can fit tons of minifigs on any of these bar pieces, which is great. So you can pose all the characters just about anywhere you want here. This sort of reminds me too of the Lego Batman movie sets, where you get a lot of the red macaroni pieces, but this one really sort of takes the cake. So personally, I love the fact that you get all of these pieces. Also getting these getting these circular tiled pieces in dark red is awesome. You get a few in sort of that gunmetal color. So even light bluish gray right over there, just 1 or 2 of them. So that's great. In terms of construction pieces or just kind of a fun arena to play around in, I do like how vertical it is. Usually play sets or general sets don't have really tall play areas like that, but this is one of the larger ones. And yeah, so there we go. I think I've kind of said, or at least gone through all the basics of what this set is about. There's a few things that, you know, I'm not totally crazy about. I would have liked Winston to be able to fit into the shuttle. I feel like that would have been more appropriate for him. These pieces on Winston always fall off like really, really easily whenever you pick them up, or if you want to play around with them a lot. There are little pieces that fall off of them pretty darn easy. And also taking the shuttle apart, you might be dropping those extra missiles out. But other than that, there aren't really a whole lot of detractors from the set. The part price point ratio I think is pretty fair. Also, I forgot to mention, this is a new piece right there. You see that? It's a sloped piece, but it kind of curves in there. That's actually a new piece, which is kind of cool. It's not my favorite of the new piece designs. I feel like there's 10 others that I would have chosen before getting that one, but it makes the shape of the ship blend together pretty well. Ultimately, I'm happy generally with the types of pieces that you get, and I think the figs are really high quality. Certainly high enough quality, you know, for I think the fans that were really into Overwatch and super excited to get their favorite characters. I don't know the characters that well. All I know is that the pieces are really good. I think Farah's face is probably my favorite one out of any of the minifigs. And let me know what you guys think about this set in the comment section below. Do you think this actually does the game justice? I'm not familiar with the game, so I'm just looking at this from just a Lego set perspective. But maybe we could have had another side build somewhere, or they could have introduced more play features. I did realize that they didn't really have a lot of play features in general, like not shooting weapons or catapult pieces, things like that. That's really not a signature of the Overwatch sets. And part of me thinks that that's because the people that are into Overwatch, the demographic, are probably slightly older than the kids that would be buying Ninjago sets or the old Nexo Knight sets. And so they figured that people didn't really care as much about having those shooting functions. I just assumed that they would be in the Overwatch sets, but they're not here. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about this set. And if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault. Oh, hey guys, just popping in very quick to let you know that we have a Lego web store, www.brickvault.toys, where we sell the PDF step-by-step instructions for some very high-quality mocks built by some incredibly talented designers that we work with from all around the world. So anyways, if you want to help support the channel, www.brickvault.toys, you get some really cool stuff. Definitely worth checking out. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.